What's up, guys? We're back with another Loners episode.
70.
Episode 70.
That's kind of a lot.
Roll that intro. It's not.
It's not a lot, but like for like us, it is.
Yeah. What's up, guys? We're back. Before we start, just want to say thanks for coming and checking in with the boys and you're
I'm a boy.
sorry. Thanks for coming and checking in with your peeps.
I've never heard you say "ya boys" like in like seriousness. Say that.
I wasn't being serious. If you haven't yet, please jump over to our vlog channel, like and subscribe. We got them Spain vlogs flowing.
We got to Spain yeah.
But we hope you all are doing well. We hope you enjoyed our last video too about Christiana, which was really interesting.
That was a cool video. The dogs agreeing.
Yes.
This is episode 70 of Loners. Thank you for joining. It's gonna be on CNBC. How the U.S. wastes tax money.
Yep, we're about to talk about one of the worst problems we have in this country, I think, honestly.
I would say the worst problem is
guns.
Yes. And homelessness.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I exaggerated a bit, but it's still a huge problem because I feel like a lot of our money just goes to shit that we don't even...
justice system.
Yeah.
And
we
have a
a
for-profit jail.
Just put the thing. It's like a can you list?
Play.
It's like can you list all the problems? And it's like that SpongeBob 4 hours late.
List the qualities shorter.
All right.
Than the issues.
Okay, so we're gonna get into this video about how the U.S. wastes tax money. Now let's begin.
At least $247 billion of taxpayer money was wasted in 2022.
There's no real accountability from the government to the customers, the American people. And so no one should be surprised that the government is horrible customer service, that it wastes resources, that it steals your resources, that it does stupid and wasteful things from them.
Meanwhile, 54% of Americans today believe their federal income taxes are too high. Yet, the United States is one of the least taxed among the developed nations. Tax revenue in America accounts for a little more than a quarter of the country's GDP, compared to an average of 34.11% among developed countries.
Particularly compared to other Western European democracies where people have the same standard of living as we do, our taxes are really relatively low.
Taxes are a matter of perception. It's a matter of how people feel about it and the value that they feel they're getting for the taxes that they pay.
Only about 20%, really more like 18% or so, of government spending is actually on what most people would say they think government does.
In the private sector, if somebody is doing something, they see what they're trying to do or sell and then determine how to do it and then how much it will cost. Federal government, everything is go spend the money. That doesn't work, go spend more money.
Yeah.
So why do taxes feel so high in the United States? And why does so much of it get wasted? Billions of taxpayer dollars go wasted every year. Take improper payments, for example, which cost the U.S. $247 billion in 2020.
Improper payments?
These refer to payments that were made incorrectly by the government. Over the last 2 decades, the U.S. government has lost almost $2.4 trillion in payment errors.
Wild.
And these are the people that are getting upset at us for not doing our taxes correctly or something like that?
Well, yeah. I also think it's really fucking dumb that they leave it in our hands. Like, here, we don't, like, no.
Let us know where you're from,
you
too.
You already know what I owe. Just send me a fucking bill. And
exactly.
leave me alone.
Just like to be like, yes, this is correct, check it off. And then, like, that's what you owe or what you get paid, whatever.
Yeah, taxes should not be as difficult as they are.
Like, she was, like, jumping through hoops to get her taxes done correctly.
Well, it's because I changed my healthcare, so I needed a form to be submitted, like I think it was a 1095A, whatever the fuck, and I didn't have it. And the account, it's just a long story short.
Yeah,
I didn't have the form. I had to like finesse a way to get the form and to submit it because they were telling me, your healthcare provider sent us something, and you need to find the form that pretty much matches it. And I'm like, well, if they already sent you my shit, go based off that. Why do I also have to send you something?
But also what happened last year was it clearly was a mistake, but they made her pay like
They apparently I had dependents. I don't fucking
Yeah,
know.
and it's like she clearly doesn't. And so like when
I'm not the sharpest tool in the tool shed,
Yeah.
but I'm also not the dullest, okay? And I'm telling you, and they would not, you could not get a hold of the IRS.
Exactly. You couldn't get a hold of them. So we tried calling them for days and contacting them for days, and no one would help. Like, no one. You couldn't get a hold of anyone.
Couldn't because it's tax season and they're busy.
Yeah,
but
it's
still.
just ridiculous. And then, like, so then she's stuck paying this certain amount that we know is not correct.
I mean, I'm pretty confident it wasn't.
It
but
wasn't. I looked at the details. It wasn't. Yeah.
An improper payment can be both an overpayment and an underpayment. An overpayment may be fraudulent, going to the wrong person, going to someone who's ineligible, going literally to someone who's deceased.
You ask
Oh my
most
God.
people, how much money do you lose in a day, a month, a year, something like that? And they would say, none of it, right? I know what I'm spending my money on, right? Maybe on occasion somebody drops a dollar bill, but the government has just lost, as if you dropped on the sidewalk, trillions and trillions of dollars over the last few decades. And that is money that was stolen from hardworking Americans to just simply get wasted.
But that's not all. Oversight reports from nonprofits and senators like Rand Paul claim that billions of dollars are being wasted every year. From spending $1.7 billion maintaining empty government buildings, to accidentally investing $28 million on forest camouflage uniforms to be used in the deserts of Afghanistan.
accidentally.
Duplicated programs are another concern.
The Government Accountability Office every year issues a report on duplicative and overlapping programs. And every year, they find more of these programs. For example, everyone should be connected to broadband, at least everybody who wants to be connected. Yet, in the federal government, the Government Accountability Office found 133 broadband programs across 15 federal agencies. Just one example of the duplication and overlap among many programs throughout the federal government. And the federal government spent $42 billion over a 3-year period, and people are still not connected.
Experts say
The money can't be going to the specific things. They have to be going other places.
Well,
And
when you can hide those things.
yeah, because there's no there's nothing that we see our money is doing. Like there's no outcome. Like you guys see, like, you have healthcare, you're covered, you have these education, you have these things, and it's like, oh, I see where my taxes are going. So like, you guys, I think maybe do pay a little more, but then
They pay more, but you have a higher result.
yeah.
We don't see the result of what we're already paying. So why the fuck do we want to pay more?
And it's actually still pretty high in certain cases too over here, especially if you have to pay like a premium for health insurance or stuff like that.
You pay more. The poor pay more here. Like,
Yeah, that's what I was actually
than
reading.
people who are wealthy.
I was reading something and someone was saying that in Europe, billionaires get taxed a lot more because there's stricter tax laws. And here, billionaires get out of the taxes because they know the laws and they can hire these like super good accountants
There's like
and lawyers.
loopholes they can get out
Yeah,
of.
which they don't
meet
have as
certain
much over there,
criteria.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
problem mainly stems from the way our government tries to solve an issue.
In the private sector, if somebody is doing something, they see what they're trying to do or sell and then determine how to do it and then how much it will cost. Federal government, everything is go spend the money. That doesn't work, go spend more money.
The way that our systems
seems
work
about, like,
is that we didn't
realistic, yeah.
thoughtfully do anything. The way that our programs are done is it's one Band-Aid thrown on top of another.
Yeah.
Somebody got into office and said, I want to have a grant program that's named after me. So none of these are really designed to work with each other. None of them are designed to respect each other.
Federal spending has risen over 20% since 2019, adjusted for inflation. The federal government reported $1.38 trillion in federal budget deficit in 2022. That same year, the national debt hit almost $31 trillion for the first time in history.
As the government spends, as it runs up a deficit and a debt that is now America's second mortgage, that is now $250,000 per household, what happens is it's sucking all the oxygen out of the room. It's destroying investment. It's mortgaging our futures. It's slowing our growth today. The inflation you're seeing is a large result of that.
Taxes have also never felt more unfair in the US.
First of all, the top has ballooned. There's just so many more people who are really, really, really rich than we ever had. And secondly, the numbers of ways that they can get out of paying taxes has also increased.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that their rate is bad, it's that they don't pay that rate.
What
And
about
that
shit?
really makes people mad.
I absolutely dismiss those kind of claims that the wealthy aren't paying their fair share. I mean, first of all, they're paying the overwhelming majority of the taxes that are paid in this country.
That is
According to most recent
bullshit.
available data, the top 1%.
I don't really believe that either.
That is BS.
Yeah.
That I would love to see actual proof on, because everything that I've done research on says quite the opposite.
The top 1% of earners paid more than 42% of federal personal income tax in the United States.
That's
Doubt
true.
that.
They do pay billions and billions of dollars in taxes. That's because they're rich. They have money to tax. The bottom of the income distribution doesn't pay many taxes at all because they don't have much money to get taxed on.
A 2021 analysis from the White House revealed that the wealthiest 400 billionaires pay an average tax rate of 8.2%, a much lower rate compared to average working Americans.
Yeah, that's what.
Additionally, Americans feel
That's what I'm
they
saying.
This is
I don't
enough.
understand.
It's contradicting.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it, because I know, like, income tax alone is like, what is it, like 7 point something or whatever, right?
I believe so.
Minus like Social Security and all
And
those
then
other.
California state tax is another thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know the percent on the state tax.
it's
I
pretty
think
high.
federal it's 7 point.
Something like that
some
probably.
shit.
But then California is already like 10%
But
or
also,
something.
like, if you're, I'm just gonna assume if you're a billionaire, you're a business owner. Like, you're still supposed to spend another. You're supposed to like double if you're a business owner. I forgot the name of the actual tax, but you have to pay another like 8% or 7 point something percent. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck they're paying. All I know is every article I've read about it explains that they have all these loopholes that pretty
Well,
much
yeah, there are a
exempt
lot of
them from
loopholes,
like
yeah.
certain things. Anyway. So that's confusing. I don't get what that guy was saying.
He just didn't
He
want
said they
to.
pay double.
He said they pay, the majority of. Yeah.
visible returns for how much they pay. While the US does enjoy lower taxes compared to other developed countries, citizens pay extra for many
Yeah.
services.
Excuse
Out of
me.
pocket health spending
Yeah.
per capita in the US in 2019 was $1,235, compared to just $687 average for OECD members.
Okay, hold on. I need to
The
show
US
something.
pays a higher average tuition fee for a bachelor.
This intermission is brought to you by. No, I'm just kidding.
This is literally, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a bill I got. I have insurance, so I'm fine. I only spent like $50 total. But if I hadn't, tell me if you guys can see that. For a doctor's visit alone, just for me to be like,
Hi.
what's up?
Yeah.
What's up, doc? $864.
Damn.
That's just the visit.
So if she didn't have insurance, she would have had to pay the $800 just to.
I wouldn't have gone. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
I would have suffered in silence. Well, not
Damn.
silence. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just bizarre to me that,
That it would cost that
like,
much.
where did you get that? Okay, where'd you get that number from? I know my doctor's not getting paid $800 for the whole 20 minutes she looked at me.
No, I think it has something to do with the insurance in the hospital. It's
bullshit.
Talking to each other. But yeah. It is fucking crazy.
It is what you said, but the number, I just want to know how they come to that agreement.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
degree, compared to most other developing countries, for both public and independent private institutions.
Most of our taxes go to Social Security and Medicare. Look at your pay stubs. That's where your taxes are going. We finance in part our own retirement and our own old age medical care throughout our lifetimes, from the time we get that first teenage job to
I'm just speaking for myself here. I don't plan on living that long, so just give me my money. I promise I will not be around to use it.
the time we get our first job and on. And other countries don't do that. They build that into the tax structure. Other countries just say you're going to have this amount of pension, you're going to have this amount of health care and education. And they pay higher taxes, but they get more for it.
COVID-19 especially brought the U.S. government's wasteful spending to attention.
In March of 2020, the United States struggled to respond to growing threats presented by COVID-19. With the economy on the brink of collapse, Congress passed a series of bills intended to both fund the public health response and keep the economy afloat. But with massive government spending comes opportunity for waste, fraud, and abuse. Unfortunately, Democrats conducted little oversight of the over $2 trillion spent under the CARES Act.
The sad answer is we don't know actually exactly how much got wasted. The estimates are hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, if not frankly trillions, in the kind of 3-year period we're talking about. But a lot of that is there was this rush to get money out the door, and so they were using structures that were never very good. They were designed for much, much smaller volumes of money going through them. There was no accountability put in place. There was no priority to put in systems so that even retroactively we could figure out where the waste and fraud and abuse was.
Yeah.
It's the job of the Government Accountability Office, or GAO, to audit and report any wasteful spending by the federal government.
It'll look at a particular agency and it'll say, okay, this agency seems to be understaffed, not doing a very good job. It seems to have a lot of errors. If it's giving out money, it seems to have a high error rate. It'll point to management problems in the government with the hopes, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't, with the hopes that Congress or the executive branch will then take action to try to fix the government. I think they have enough power. I don't think they have enough manpower or resources.
One of the few areas where Citizens Against Government Waste thinks more money should be spent is on the Government Accountability Office and the offices of Inspectors General, because they do provide a good return on the quote-unquote investment, the amount of money that's being provided for them. I think in some cases $7 or $8 for every dollar spent in terms of recovering or preventing wasteful spending.
In general, accountability over spending is severely lacking in the U.S. government.
There's no real penalty for misspending money or not looking at how it's being spent, because the answer is go create another.
The problem with this is that they get on us and they fine us and they arrest people for, fraud. Yeah, I get it. But I'm saying they fine people if the
government overpays you out of their like fucking
mistake,
will, like they will find a way to like be like,
you're paying that back with interest.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's like pretty
you
much.
Fucked up. You pay for it. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
you
it's
fucked
just
up. Like, cut your losses. And
I know.
Anyway, sorry.
If this is a system in charge of our country for like handling money, then they're not a good example for people to look up to of how to do things financially.
You're saying you don't deserve respect, pretty much.
Well, I mean, look at how much they overspend. Look at how much they waste. Look at all this stuff, and then it's like. That they're supposed to be the ones who handle these things properly and the right way to benefit everyone and not ruin the country, like economically.
Right. And it's almost like they throw a fucking grenade and then they get confused when it like explodes. It's like,
and then there's
maybe
like,
we should have thought about that.
And everyone is just scratching their head like, oh, who did that? You know, like no one wants to take blame. Yeah.
It's like the Spider-Man meme when they're all pointing at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Congress doesn't put its feet down and says in a new piece of legislation, we demand that there's some real accountability. Congress doesn't hold their feet to the fire and ensure that these processes are put in place, that they're well managed, that they're well resourced.
Some suggest simply shrinking the federal government's responsibility.
If you want to cut the federal government, there is a way to do it. Stop doing things, okay? Just don't do those things anymore. Give them to the states, privatize them, whatever. Just don't do them anymore.
Almost everything else that the federal government does is intended to help someone with a particular problem. In many cases, that can be done through the private sector, or it can be done a lot more efficiently if someone could just figure out how much does it really cost to help those 500 people that need somewhere to live, rather than saying we're going to spend $800,000 to buy them a condo, which has happened, by the way.
That is crazy.
It's not a matter.
They are like, I don't know. I can't think of a good like analogy for this, but like solve the problems in small batches instead of just like, you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Yeah.
Instead of just like putting a blanket over it and hoping that it's.
Well, also when and they spend so much time and effort being like, okay, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be so great, and all that time in between, they could be doing little things to like get everything moving along faster and helping more people.
I just feel like a lot of the you know, when they help, it's just like it's so dramatic.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like they don't check in to see if what their game plan, if they actually worked or not.
Yep. They just that's true.
It's like they solve a they solve a problem
Yeah.
by creating a new problem, and then they try to solve that problem, and it causes another one.
Yeah, and it's just like
It's
never
like
ending.
never ending because
Yeah.
if they just sat there and figured out a good, logical,
Step by step.
like
yeah.
realistic way of solving this, then like or backtrack.
Yeah.
Well, let's
You
go
just
back
gotta
to the
put
drawing
you just
board.
gotta
Let's
put
not
one
add
step in front
another-
of the other, you know? One foot in front of the other. Like solve
you
one
need-
thing at a time.
you need to go back
Yeah.
and make sure those things are good before.
They shouldn't be spending
Anyway.
almost $1 million to house a single homeless person though. That's LA.
Well,
It's
especially
crazy.
because you don't know if that money is actually going there, and it's
Yeah.
hard to keep track of that much money
Yeah.
versus if they did it, they had like I don't know.
I know what
Anyway,
you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I know what I mean in my brain, and that's about it.
Of not trying to get something done, it's just doing it the wrong way.
Experts say government efficiency is an essential issue that the Congress must put more effort into solving.
Congress is the entity that's supposed to
Yeah.
be able to say, I've got this report. We know where the waste is. We're going to do better. We owe it to the American people
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
better. And Congress does nothing with it. And that's really the problem here. There's nothing you can do to make up for Congress not doing their job. At the end of the day, what's going to need to happen
Seriously.
is Congress to do their job, to take
But they
that
get a
good
slap on the
information,
wrist.
to fix
They don't even get
systems,
that.
to change the laws, to go after this waste, to make a real effort to respect the American people by focusing on that.
Preach.
All right. Yeah. Good stuff. I mean, it's true. It's not good stuff, but it's true. Like, I don't know. And I think a lot of people just don't really give a shit at all. Like, they're just in their own worlds about it. But it's like, it is annoying. And I think the only way to really.
Ignorance is bliss. Also, it's so much
Yeah,
easier to
yeah.
just be like, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep doing things the way I've been doing them because I've been surviving.
I
this
know,
far.
but it's just like, and then if you choose to not go along with the system and you choose to withdraw, you get fined, you get arrested, you get like, you know what I mean? Like,
you don't get the choice to do
yeah,
that.
you don't have the choice to not do these things like this way. Like, I would pay a little more in taxes if I saw like,
if
okay,
it made sense to.
yeah,
but
like
it
if
just
I felt
doesn't.
taken care of by the government a little more, because I mean, where it's kind of set up that way where they're supposed to, you know, like they want us to rely on them, but then
Yeah.
they want us to jump through hoops to, you know, do everything, and then they also do it nothing in our benefit, pretty much.
They think that we are their sugar daddies, and we're not.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
They really
Just
be,
'cause
they
you
be
wanna-
coming for you here.
Just because you want to spend your money in irresponsible ways doesn't mean you can come back over here and ask for more. Okay.
I know. Yep. And then they don't
But yet
want to
they still
approve people
do.
for credits and credit cards and stuff like that. If the U.S. like area of Treasury or whatever, if they were to get rated on their of their money handling score, it would be like a negative.
Yeah. What's your FICO score?
Yeah,
America?
exactly. Yeah, seriously, right?
The fact that we even have.
Oh yeah, let us know
Scores is
in your guys'
stupid.
places if credit scores is such a big thing as over here, because
I
that's
don't even know if some places have it.
what I'm saying. That's interesting.
We didn't even have it till the 80s.
Yeah,
if
I
I'm not
know.
mistaken.
Yeah,
It's
it's
still
true.
fairly in our parents' lifetime. Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
Yeah, that created so much more debt here.
Yeah, you guys
All right.
fucked us up,
All
man.
right. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Jump over to our vlog channel, like and subscribe. All right. Thank you all. Take it easy.
Bye.